I'm going to be giving you an overview. What am I doing with my mouth? Yo guys, how you doing? I'm going to be giving you an overview of a pop vocal production. This is one of my tracks I produced with a friend of mine, Keelan, aka Kenny. He does some wicked vocal arrangement breakdowns and stuff, so I'll link him in the description, or a banner if I work out how to do banners. So let's just jump right into it. This is what the track sounds like.
Why won't you love me? Why can't I hold you in my arms? Why did you choose him?
So, I'm not going to be going too in depth because otherwise this is going to be like a 2 hour long video, but I want to give you an idea of the steps to take to turn, a home setup into something that sounds sharp and polished. So let's jump right into it. For the verses, one of the most important things to keep in mind is the instrumental, right? So I've bounced this out to a 2-track. One, because my computer ain't doing all of this in one session, let's be honest. And number 2, just to commit to something, right? So you don't end up over tweaking. When you're making an instrumental, leave enough space for your vocals, right? That's tip number 1. So I am gonna out myself now. I'm gonna take everything off and I'm gonna show you what the process was. So these are the vocal buses, right? I'm going to turn these plugins off. All of my vocals go to vocal bus for me. I've got a vocal bus for all of Keelan's ones, and then I've got a backing vocals bus, and then all of those buses go to an all vocal bus, right? Just for some final processing, and I will show you what's on those and why they're on there, more importantly. Don't put stuff on, I wish someone told me this. Don't do stuff just to do stuff, you know? Like, have an intent on why you're adding stuff. Don't just add stuff because you think it needs to be added or you've seen people add it. And if someone could go back in time and tell me that, it would save me a lot of pain. Okay, cool. So raw vocals, right?
Looking at my phone to call you. Wishing I was feeling more sober.
Cool. So first thing we're going to do is tuning, right? So I don't have enough money for Melodyne, but we're just going to go with Metatune, right? I love the Slate stuff. You're going to see it all over the project. It's pretty much all I use. For a pop track, I think it's important to have, this is just my opinion, but the tuning needs to be bang on the money, right? So I've got a retune speed of 22.9, not overly fast, but definitely doesn't sound totally natural. Sustain up to 100, right? So I'm really rounding off the transitions between notes. So this is with the tuning.
Looking at my phone to call you. Wishing I was feeling more sober.
Next thing I like to do is an EQ, right? So I go subtractive EQ. You've got to think about the running order. First thing I'm going to do when I'm doing subtractive EQ is I'm going to take out all the stuff that I don't want triggering the compressor, right? Because I'm going to put a compressor after this. So I don't want all that low end making the compressor work just for me to cut the low end out after the compressor. That don't make no sense. Stop doing it, okay? So what did I do? I cut out all this low end, cutting out all of this stuff. If you're using headphones, you might be able to hear this, but this is what we're getting rid of. You can't even hear it. So why? Listen, if you can't hear it, why is it in your song? Do you know what I mean? I don't need all that stuff clogging stuff up. Silly. I added a little bit of low mids. It sounded a little bit thin to me. And then all of these frequencies are just dirty, nasally, throaty frequencies that I go away. Next step, compression. The first thing I did is I want to get rid of the transients, right? First compressor I'm using is the FG401, right? Super transparent. You don't really hear it doing anything much. It just does its job. What I'm doing here is, like I said, I'm trying to get rid of those transients. So I've got a super fast attack. Then I've got a fairly fast release. My ratio's at 2.5, nothing too drastic. A little bit of makeup gain. This guy is way louder, right? Look at the volume on here, right? Compared to the rest of the vocal. You don't want that. Don't scare people. This is what it sounds like before, right?
Back and I'm thinking why, oh why?
You hear that volume jump? We don't want any of that. So we're going to turn the compressor on now. Take a listen.
Back and I'm thinking why, oh why?
Flat. Then we're going with 2A. Again, a little bit of peak reduction. It's doing the same thing as this, but if I put it all on one compressor, you're going to hear it start to pull, and you don't want that. Third compressor is taking care of the rest of the vocal, right? So now that we've flattened that out, I just want to squash it a little more. I want to make sure that it's flat. So this compressor has a slower attack, so it's not catching the transients, it's catching the stuff after the transients. Release is super long as well. This is the FG Stress. Super versatile.
Back and I'm thinking why, oh why?
And it's a 10-to-1 ratio, which is pretty mental. We're basically, there's actually a nuke setting on this compressor. Step 3 or 4. Next step is additional EQ. So we took out the frequencies we didn't want before the compressors. Now that everything's flat, we're going to start boosting some of the stuff we like, right? So I'm using this FGN, and I'm putting a high shelf, right, about 2.2 decibels, and then boosting a little bit of 7K just to get some of the air, the sibilance, do you know what I mean, the clarity through. This is such a good tip, right? I wish someone told me this earlier. If you want the tallest building, no, that's a stupid analogy. If you want something to sound super shiny, you can either boost a bunch of the high end, or you can take out other stuff so that in comparison it seems shinier. And if you do that, then you don't have that piercing sharp sound. Now I didn't do that here, but I'm not doing a lot of boost, right? I didn't need it to be that much more shiny. So let's hear a before and after.
Back and I'm thinking why, oh why? Back and I'm thinking why, oh why?
Right, just brings a bit of clarity, a bit of presence to that. And then we're de-essing. So what have we done so far? We've tuned. We have subtracted some stuff we don't want in there. We've compressed. We've added stuff we don't want in there. And now we're de-essing a little bit, right? And now our vocal has gone from this
Looking at my phone to call ya.
to this.
Looking at my phone to call ya. At least I can say that I tried.
With the reverbs and delays, I'm not going to go into it too much because this video will be too long, but I've just automated different types to come in and out where there's gaps in the lyrics. So let's jump into Keelan's vocals, right? Because there's some stacks going on. You're going to see it's going to follow the same process, right? So if I solo his lead, let's take a listen to his lead vocal, right?
Why won't you love me? Why can't I hold you in my arms?
He's so good. It actually makes me angry. But here's what we did. So we're going to follow the same process, right? So look at this chain. EQ, what's this called? Tuning, right? Then we went subtractive EQ, right? And then we went compression. So I only used 2 compressors on him. And then EQ, additive. So we're adding stuff in. De-esser. So it's the same pattern every time. I'm tuning, then I'm doing some subtractive EQ, then I'm compressing, then I'm adding some, EQ, and then I am de-essing. And then it goes to a vocal bus and goes something else. Now, what compressor you reach for is going to be different depending on the take, depending on the person, the mic, the room. Same with EQs, everything like that. So you've got to listen for it. And I'll do another video diving into what we're listening for. If you guys want that, just leave a comment below and let me know. But that's basically what we're doing, right? And then in terms of the arrangement, just really briefly, I got the lead. I did 2 doubles, so I can show you those, right?
Why won't you love me?
And I'm pretty much copy and pasting the plugins, right? Because I'm putting them in the same space. I carve out a little more low end, just so that the center vocal still has some weight to it. But we did a left and right. We did a low octave.
Why won't you love me?
These are so chopped up as well. Just to time them all. Do you know what I mean? Like for a vocal pop production, you want it all to, like, all these vocal stacks, you want them to be tight, So that's why these are all chopped up. And when you listen to them solo, they sound stupid, right? But in the essence of things, if it works, it works. Do you know what I mean? So do what you need to do. Then we've got the harmonies left and right, not as hard. So the doubles are panned hard left and right. These are, what are they at? 35 each one.
Why won't you love me?
Right, you put those together.
Why won't you love me?
Wicked. Then they go through the bus processing, and then you put your effects on. Yeah, I hope this helped. This was just like a brief overview, right, of what to go through in your chain. If you want me to do a deeper dive into anything, then just let me know in the comments. I'll be happy to do it. This song is out right now, so if you want to, listen to it. If you don't want to, listen to it anyway, and even if you hate it, just tell me you hate it. That's fine as well. Just give me the streams.